Welcome to Shop Talks, which is a presentation of the In Kitchen, which if you go to inkitchen.com, you can get all kinds of free information. And this is also brought to you by Impressions and our sponsors, Los Angeles Apparel, Hirsch, Fairweather Johnson, Alpha Broder, Stalls, and Reese. And I'm happy to have Jennifer Cox here as the first of 3 days of free talks. We'll be talking a little bit, then we'll leave time for question and answer, and then Jennifer will stay around for a few minutes, and all you shy people can ask her questions as well. Anyway, thank you for coming. Welcome Jennifer Cox from NNEP. And what does NNEP stand for? Let's hear that.
All right. NNEP is the National Network of Embroidery Professionals. We're kind of like the AAA for the automotive industry. When you own a car and you get a flat or your battery dies, you have someone that can come and help you. We do that for the embroidery business owners. We're like Triple E, as my members call us. So where do I get it? How do I price it? I don't know how to put in a government bid. I don't know how to sew on swimsuit material. I don't know how to hire somebody. I don't know how to find somebody to hire them. I don't know how to fire somebody legally. All the 1,001 things that you have to master beyond running your machine, we gotcha.
All right, and what's your history in the business? Like, where do you come from?
Back in 1991, my parents owned a yarn shop, Needle Arts, knitting, cross-stitch, needlepoint, and they bought an embroidery machine thinking it was a neat high-tech complement to their low-tech business. They ran the machine at home in the evenings and weekends. By the end of the first year, they contacted me and asked me to come home and join the business. I was like, oh, no. Then I went to a conference. Well, you can see where that led. I've been here ever since. So I've been in a home-based business, a retail business, a production business, and a manufacturing business. We imported custom-made goods from overseas. We've kind of done it all. Multi-head shop, single-head shop, all of the above. We ended up in a 3,500 square foot old-fashioned mom-and-pop grocery store with mom-and-pop housing upstairs. My parents lived in it. And then the 3,500 square feet was our production operation where we had multi-heads and employees and ran production embroidery.
Similar background to me. Started in my basement and have a large 23,000 square foot facility. So we're going to talk today a little bit about actually making a business out of your embroidery business. You know, a lot of times we have these talks on the technical part of embroidery, but you know, it's all for nothing if you can't make money doing it. You laid out some pretty interesting ideas, and I'll just let you go with that. What's the whole deal with, like, what do people not do and what should they be doing business-wise that a lot of people are not?
All right. I'm going to get on my soapbox a little bit.
All right. Go for it.
We tend to think of ourselves as embroiderers or screen printers. In fact, we're business owners, and our product is the embroidered goods or the screen printed goods. When we shift our thinking from being a product producer to being a business owner, all of a sudden the decisions we start to make become business decisions rather than embroidery or screen print decisions. So should I charge this customer $25 for these shirts becomes a lot easier when you realize you need to make profit on that to cover your time and expenses. If you are thinking like an embroiderer, your head goes, oh, that'll take me 20 minutes, $15, and you're losing money. When you flip the script and start to think like a business owner, it's okay to think about the bottom line and how everything you do is serving that bottom line. Because if you're losing money, you're not going to stay in business very long. The guy at the car dealership knows down to the penny how much money he's making every car he sells. The local grocer knows down to the penny what every dozen eggs brings in his business. We tend to not ever get to the point where we start thinking like that as apparel decorators. For some reason, it's just not, we bought the machine, we're producers by default. We held up our hand and said, I make stuff.
It's funny, but I saw on Facebook this week, I'm in a bunch of groups, and there was a guy, he's like, I'm new to this, and I know a lot of people charge by the stitch, but it seems like the price gets really high when it's a lot of stitches. And I was like, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, of course it does. He was almost acting more like a consumer. Why, that's a lot of money versus a business owner. It doesn't seem like he probably had it down of time is money, right?
Exactly. You really have to start valuing what you offer in your community as a custom service, not a commodity. They're not buying t-shirts, folks. They have a closet full of them. They're not walking into your store or business naked. They're not. They have clothing. They're
Thank
not
God.
buying clothing. They're buying the outcome that logoed clothing will give them. They're buying the fact that now their employees can be spotted by their customers in a retail store or restaurant. They're buying the fact that first shift and third shift have different colored shirts so that they know who's where when. They're buying the outcome of the decorated product, not the product. So we have to stop selling product and start selling outcomes.
Do you think that a lot of it is just fear? You know, people are afraid that they won't have business, or what do you think drives this, resistance to charging enough?
I'm always amazed when I hear an embroidery business owner tell me, oh, well, I don't pay myself. Really? So you would go work 40, 50, 60 hours all night for someone and not expect to be paid? Well, no, of course not. But you just said you're not paying yourself. Isn't that what you're doing? When you're not paying yourself, when you're not factoring the ability to pay yourself into your pricing, you are shortchanging yourself in so many ways, and you're pricing yourself out of the market. So you have to overcome that I'm new or they won't pay this mindset, because we're the ones thinking that. Our customers really truly aren't, believe it or not. If they need the outcome that comes from having that decorated apparel product, they will pay for it. Just like on their feet. If they have a pair of Nikes on, they spend $120 on those. But, do we want to pay $120 for shoes? No. But are we all wearing $100 shoes? Yeah, we are. Are we all driving nice cars or reasonable cars? Yeah, we are. If it was about always being the lowest price, we would live in the cheapest house, we would drive the wreck of a car, and we would be wearing Kmart or Walmart shoes all the time. But we're not.
It seems like I think that people don't realize that a lot of customers want a really good job and want you to stand behind the work more than that they care about the price. And they don't want to hassle. They want to put the job in and they want to get it on time. And I think people forget that that's just as important as the price sometimes, if not more important.
It's more important. The decision-making factor. Think about your own behavior. This is an example. My sister starts a new job this week. She truly did. I wanted to send flowers to her at her new business to arrive on her desk when she got to work on her first morning, because she's my baby sister, right? And it was a big deal for her to get this new job. It was a massive promotion to a new company. So I was really proud of her. Did I go online or call 4 florists to price shop? Or did I go online, find a florist that delivered to that address, and place the order? I needed the outcome. I needed those flowers on her desk, in her office with a door on it, the minute she walked in her building. I needed the outcome. I spent the money, didn't even think about it, whipped out that credit card and popped it in the website. Price? Not even a thought. I had a budget, and I did not exceed it, but I got my outcome. She called me 20 minutes after she arrived at work and kind of did the walk and talk and meet. and she sent me a quick text that they were lovely and a picture. Mission accomplished, outcome achieved.
So I was at a meeting once of pretty large decorators, and there was about 40, 50 people in the room. We were talking about pricing, and asked how many people were afraid last time they raised their prices, and it was like almost unanimous. And then asked who had lost customers over it, and no one raised their hands. So it was like a much greater fear on the behalf of the business owner than it really should have been.
Yeah, the customer's not going to walk away. If they are your customer and they are happy, increasing your prices incrementally over time is a reasonable thing. When I came to the show here today and I paid at the hotel, I paid a higher rate than the last time I was here. The hotel raised their prices. Did I not come? Am I not sleeping in a hotel? No, I came, I paid.
I think
Didn't
the only
even
thing is to communicate it.
Yes.
So if the hotel raised their price and you came, but if you came and all of a sudden they added a $50 charge for checking in early, which ours on their website says,
Ooh.
then you would be mad.
Right.
So I think if you're going to charge enough, it's to be clear on your pricing. People do not like surprises. They don't want to come cash in hand thinking they were paying $10 a shirt and find out it's $12. They don't want all extra charges that weren't mentioned. I think you just have to be really clear.
Transparency.
Yes, that's important.
Yeah, transparency in your pricing. Tell them in your quotes exactly what the product is, what the decoration is, what the delivery time frame is, and what the price is. So that then from the quote, when they go to place the order, there's no hidden agenda, there's no surprises. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna sneak in this and I'm gonna sneak in that. You've gotta be upfront with setup fees, digitizing, art fees. There's gonna be shipping involved. It depends on what you order, how much the shipping is gonna be. There's a cost to get the goods from the factory or manufacturing or warehouse to us, for us to decorate it. And that will show up on your invoice. You have to have transparency in the beginning of the conversation, not dropping bombs on them at the end. That makes for bad customer relationships.
I think the other thing is that people sometimes, I think especially if you're in a tight-knit community, whether that's a neighborhood or a small town, that you have a lot of friends that you're customers, and you won't survive if you don't charge enough. You won't be able to help them in the future. I've seen people that charge to get by, then what do you do when there's a disaster? Because you know what? In the world there are disasters. What happens when, your roof leaks? What happens when you print something wrong and you have to rebuy the shirts? What happens if you have employees? Aren't they going to want to raise eventually?
Yeah.
What happens when your equipment wears out? Did you charge enough to earn enough money to buy the next machine? So, I think even if you're not greedy, just to survive, you have to run your place like a business, right?
Yes, absolutely. And if you're not, you mentioned paying employees. How many of us have employees and we darn good and sure make sure that payroll will get met every Friday, right? We sweat that. We lose sleep over that. We want to make sure that all of the team gets paid. Yet, if we don't get paid, I'll get it next time. Well, guess what? You might not be around long enough for there to be a next time. And if you're not paying yourself now, how are you contributing to things like Social Security? How are you contributing to things like a retirement fund? If you're not even giving yourself a paycheck, I can pretty confidently state you're not setting aside very much money for down the road. And if you think you're going to sell your business and that's going to be your retirement, I got sad news. It's not going to be enough to live on, no matter how large your company is. It's not going to cover it.
All right, any other pearls of wisdom about business versus being an embroiderer? And then maybe we'll take some questions after that.
All right. I would absolutely say flip the script. You're an entrepreneur, a business owner, and your product is the embroidery and screen printing and heat press products. Think like a business owner first, an entrepreneur. And the decoration process is what you do. So when someone asks, what do? I own a manufacturing facility. I create branded products. Find other words to describe what you do that put you more in the mindset of an entrepreneur instead of a decorator. And that'll start the transition mentally so that you can start making good business decisions that support your financial health.
All right. Any questions? Any questions out there? Everybody knows everything. That's good. What you got?
He's just saying hi.
Oh. Any questions? Are you all have a shop already, or are you thinking of starting a shop? How many have a shop already? How's it going?
Well, I'd like to say hats off to you guys because you survived COVID, and a lot of people in our industry didn't. So good job, you're all here.
What
So we're here.
I'll repeat it.
We're here because we are actually entrepreneurship teachers.
Ah.
And we have what's called a fab lab at our school. They have all these machines that we're actually teaching our students to run in hopes that they have that entrepreneurial mindset and want to start their own business.
Fabulous.
So as an entrepreneurship, as an educator, what advice would you have for us that we can share with our students?
Okay, so the question is, she's from Fab Lab in Dallas, and they teach entrepreneurship. And so what recommendations, advice would you have for young entrepreneurs?
First of all, profit is not a bad word. It has more than 4 letters.
That's a good one. That's a keeper.
That's a soundbite. All right? So they may start in the business thinking they're going to go make $1 million. They need to stay in that lane. Because the minute they get sucked down the lane of the machine and what it makes, they've lost that $1 million mindset. Because they get in the weeds with production. And we know what happens there. It devours our mind and our soul. We need to keep the business owner entrepreneurial mindset as the one that we stay up at night thinking about. What can I do better, more efficient? How can I reach new customers? How can I sell more to my current customers? That's the stuff that should keep you up at night, not that I still have to run 72 shirts on that single head tomorrow.
So I actually used to run a youth entrepreneurial development project for the first black candidate for mayor in Boston, Mel King, had a program, and it was pretty great. So we studied entrepreneurship. There was a guy at Harvard that had studied it in different cultures even. And one of the main things was there's a myth that you're a big risk taker, like a gambler. And in fact, a couple of things are true. One is people take moderate risks. So they push the limit of what they can do, but only a little. You don't get out of your comfort zone entirely. You don't try something that's way outlandish. You just push yourself some. You can't be overly careful, and you can't take a giant risk. The other is that you make plans, whether that's a business plan or a plan in your head. If you have long-term goals, it's much easier to make short-term decisions. So if you want to be the biggest screen printer ever, or if you want to be the biggest embroiderer ever, maybe, am I going to learn digitizing? Maybe I am. If you're a screen printer, all right, I'm going to buy the machine as soon as I can because I want to be big. Having those plans helps you make decisions, and the other is to go get experience in what you're going to do. So if you want to run an ice cream store of your own, go work for somebody else first. With it in mind, that long-term goal that you're going to start your own, and then you're going to take that job in a different way. You might try everything in the job versus just stay in your lane. So I think that would be my advice. Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
One thing that, just for you guys, not necessarily for your students, an outcome that we had was taking young people seriously, like you could start your own business, is a game changer. It's not like you could work at McDonald's, because anybody in this country can start a business. A lot of the people we did that with then went on to get a job. They didn't start a business once they found out how hard it is. But taking them seriously is a great step for young people, is to treat them in a way, because they can do it. There's no special thing, right? You read entrepreneurship stories, right? It's everybody was a college dropout, a high school dropout, whatever. They had a vision and they kept at it. And then don't be afraid to fail. The only people that don't make mistakes are people that don't do anything.
Yep.
All right. Good question. Thank you. Other questions?
You're getting the 2.
2 more questions.
2 minutes.
All right. Jennifer's going to stay around a couple minutes if you guys have questions in private. Thanks a lot. Thanks
right.
again to Jennifer Cox. Thanks to our sponsors, to Impressions, Los Angeles Apparel Hearst, Fairweather Johnson, Reese Stalls, and Alpha Broder. And check out In Kitchen. Check out our YouTube channel. This and all the talks that we have are up there for free. Thanks.